First to the fray and last to leave. That's life for equipment director Mike McCord behind the scenes with the Dallas Cowboys.
I've always been a Texas kid and always been a Cowboy fan, so I feel like I'm just living the dream world.
Mike has spent over 3 decades with the Cowboys, most of it managing the team's equipment and apparel. One title, but he's wearing more than one hat. From ordering helmets, pads, uniforms, practice attire, sometimes having to fix those things during a game or practice. Over time, there's been even more and more responsibilities heaped on his department. Mike was once the guy that had all the socks and jocks, to now having to expand his role into being in sync with doctors, trainers, and tech people, all to make sure the Cowboys not only look good, but more importantly, have the right equipment to keep the players as safe and protected as possible.
You know, it's funny because the game has evolved a lot. The equipment has evolved a lot. So much more studies have gone into player health and safety over the last probably 15 years than what it was before. And technology and helmets has just changed so much. We kind of stay updated with it through the NFL. Not only do we meet with licensees, but also we meet with ourselves and we talk with the NFL and doctors who have done a lot of concussion studies, impact studies, actually bring us up to date with what's going on technology-wise. We're working with them, they're working with us. Say a guy comes in from a college and he's had a little shoulder injury, a little history there. Maybe we can do something to beef up his shoulder pads as long as we know that information going into training camp so that we don't have those injuries occurring during training camp. And whether it's lower extremity injuries, shoulder injuries, all of those type of things.
Off seasons for the players and coaches, not these guys. As soon as the Cowboys' schedule ends, Mike and his staff almost immediately begin planning the next. Equipment manager Bucky Buchanan's job, in part, is to get all the Cowboys' equipment from one place to the next. No small order, considering how much gear needs to be moved week to week, especially for training camp. He's also the timekeeper for Mike McCarthy at practice, making it look a lot easier than it actually is. It's common for them to begin packing gear after halftime on game day.
We're starting to clean up, clean the lockers, clean the equipment, get everything back, get reconditioning in. After you do it so much, you learn from the mistakes you made. And like I made one last year. I sent all the equipment down at one time and not early, and they were late getting the plane loaded. So I will be sending a truck out earlier this year. It's like I tell all my young interns, the first time in training camp, I go, look, you're going to come out of it black and blue, but as long as you're breathing, we're good.
These guys spend so much time with your football team, and the quality of the person is obviously so important, and obviously the expertise and what they bring. Bucky runs our practice too, so I mean Bucky's just not equipment. You could say field manager, so I work as closely with Bucky probably than anybody during practice. So in Mike's experience and just knowing how to get things done is at the highest level. So I think that's important, and I think it tells you a lot about Mike and Bucky.
With 60-plus years of experience between them, it's obvious that Mike and Bucky love what they do, no matter the demands on their time. With so much to look after, though, Mike does seem to be a little partial to those that keep the locker room tidy.
Guys like Dak, here's a guy who really could kind of have the run of the show, but he's the first one in, the last one to leave, takes care of his locker, takes care of his business. He makes sure he has the right stuff before he leaves to go on a game versus just expecting it to be in his locker room. I mean, those are the guys that it's easy to work with.
So you're saying there's some guys that have messy locker room stalls? I mean, who's worse, your kids or
Yeah, there's always a few. It's like taking care of 53 kids. You got your own kids at home now. You get used to taking care of kids here. But overall, I will say we have a pretty good locker room. But yeah, there have been some slobs now.
At this stage of his career, Mike says the things he likes most about the job are the relationships he's been able to forge with guys like Darren Woodson, Tony Tolbert, and Daryl Johnston. And his brotherhood with Troy Aikman has clearly evolved to the point where absolutely nothing is off limits.
Mike McCord is one of my favorite all-time people. I kid him, the guy's ageless.
He used to always say, man, God, you look old. This is back when I was 24, 25 years old.
When he first got to Dallas, he looked like he was 60 years old. He's about 30.
But now he's like, man, you still look like the same age as you did back then, so something's going right.
He looks better. He's one of those rare guys who just got better looking as he went along. but only because he looked so damn old when he was so young.
It's something in the DNA store, I guess. I missed out early, and it's caught up with me now. But he's a true professional guy, on and off the field. You can see it how he does his broadcasts. He was that way as a player. He didn't care if he threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. As long as we won at the end of the day.
Have you tried Troy Aikman's beer?
Yeah, it's awesome. He has this bar over there, in the Texas Live area. And so my wife and I were sitting there at the table, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try Troy's beer. So I took a picture of it and sent it to him. I said, it's pretty good. And so he sent me a text back saying, hey, man, appreciate you trying it. And, yeah, I know where you can get more. So, but, yeah, he's the best. He's the best.